Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. This is the Game Week 1 team selection video, and today the topics that I'll be covering is current draft, fixtures difficulty rating or FDR, the captaincy plans, Game Week 1 team selection, and finally transfer plans. Before we go into the current draft, firstly, these are the questions that is popular for the past few days, whether to go with a Haaland and Salah draft, or Haaland without Salah draft, or Salah without Haaland draft, or neither Haaland or Salah draft. Alright, if you were to check on other content creator, alright, basically there are few drafts that's actually pretty nice layout. But for me, in my opinion, I will go with Haaland plus Salah and Salah draft. It's no wrong in which draft that you choose. So basically, let me just explain on my draft. As you can see, I have three premium defenders, Van Dijk, Guardiola, and Pedro Porro. And I'm going on Flecken for Brentford, whereby there's a lot of people out there that actually go with the opposition keeper of Flecken game week 1, which is Henderson. But there's a reason why I choose Flecken is because of the home advantage. And I'll explain that further. In midfield, basically I'm going with Mohamed Salah, Garnacho, Gordon, and Hassan Odoi. At this stage of the point, you have probably guessed it that I'm going with the 3-4-3 formation for game week 1. And my forward line is actually consists of Haaland, Isaac that seems to be in everyone draft, and lastly Muniz. So if I was set up on my current draft, basically my three defenders as in Van Dijk, Guardiola and Porro will not meet each other. So I no need to fear they will face each other, and obviously they have a nice round of fixtures for the reason that I choose Salah and Haaland and also Isaac and Muniz, which I will explain further in the video. Now moving on to rating, of course Fantasy Hub is having an AI rating of your team that you can actually upload it. So I would like to show the difference, basically a template team. Okay, the current popular one is actually a Salah without a Haaland draft. So instead of Haaland, they actually have Watkins and Palmer to compensate, and they go with Eze. Alright, if you notice on my previous draft, I actually have no Eze. See, there's a reason why I don't have Eze. Alright, so let's move it on to check. Yes, he's on penalties, he's on set pieces, basically it's a great option at just a 7 million price. But unfortunately, because playing against Brentford away is not an easy game. Going up against West Ham, although it's a home game, is also not easy because West Ham is strongly strengthened their squad for this season. And look at game week 3, there's a Chelsea. If I were to bring in Eze, I will probably bring in on game week 4, but there's a fear that it will be against United. And if let's say I will bring it to game week 6, basically I have to face Liverpool on game week 7. So the fixtures aren't that great if you were to notice. So that makes my decision not to bring Eze. And if you see my team, that I have Salah and Haaland is also rated 94%, same as the template team. And I'm pretty happy with it because I'm going for a differential in Garnacho and Hassan Odoi. Now, before I go in more on the captaincy plans, let's have a look at the FDR. So basically, these are the few teams that I actually have set my eyes on to target. Of course, Liverpool have a nice fixture starting with game week 1 against Ipswich, up until game week 3 against Man United. Meanwhile, Man City, despite the first game is actually hard against Chelsea, they have pretty nice rounds of fixtures. Also, game week 2 against Ipswich, and Newcastle has a strong fixtures in Southampton and another promoted team. And of course, barring the game week 3, they actually have a nice round of fixtures. Same goes to Fulham. This apart from game week 1, actually the fixtures are also nice. And of course, Chelsea, as the other side mentioned of Man City, basically after game week 1, they have a nice round of fixtures. And Forest is also not bad. Now, if you notice in my draft, I do not actually have any Arsenal player. Okay, see, there's no Arsenal players. I'm not even going to consider right up until at least To be honest, I might not even consider until game week 6. But I might take their attacking players, as in the midfield, Bukayo Saka or Havertz. Now, moving on to Aston Villa, it can be tricky despite the FDR being 2 because, as I mentioned earlier, West Ham has strongly strengthened their squad. And game week 2 against Arsenal, and the question is, does Watkins actually still can replicate the form that he had last year? Because he doesn't play much of preseason. If I'm not wrong, it's only a game, barely feature. So, yep. And Man United have a 50-50 chance of fixtures, barring game week 3. Okay, now moving on to captaincy plans. Of course, at the moment, I have 3 options for game week 1, which is Salah versus Ipswich, or Isaac against Southampton, and I might also consider Haaland versus Chelsea. For game week 2, I bring down to 2 options, but most likely I'll be sticking with Haaland against Ipswich. Now, moving on to game week 3, as you can see back in the FDR, there are pretty quite some easy features for some teams. Example like Fulham, alright, I might actually consider Muniz. So if you were to look, alright, basically, if I were to captain Salah in game week 1, Haaland in game week 2, and Muniz on game week 3, is basically again the same opposition. Okay, I'm so sorry if this video done is to offend or maybe any Ipswich fan get offended. Alright, I just felt that among all the promoted team, I'm sorry to say, right, Southampton and Leicester, they have experience because they're only down a season ago. But Ipswich has been actually quite many years missing from the Premier League, and I but don't really like the team, to be honest. I just felt that that's not strong. So for now, all right, this is my game week 1 team selection. For the captaincy, all right, currently yes, I'm on Salah, as you can see. My vice captain being Haaland. Alright, but I might change. As I mentioned earlier, is either I take Isaac or Haaland against Chelsea. Okay, but I'm pretty certain 99% I'll be on Salah unless some last minute changes were to come in. Alright, and moving on the transfer plans. See, that's the reason why I'm going to take Flecken. Alright, so obviously Flecken will be playing Crystal Palace on game week 1. Game week 2 is Liverpool, and game week 3 is Southampton. Alright, so my current plan is basically, if you can see on my previous draft video, I'm going to take a 1 week punt on Flecken. Okay, only one game week, and then game week 2, I will actually go for Chelsea goalkeeper. It's a direct swap from Flecken because they're all priced in 4.5 million. Of course, at the moment, we can't really be sure who's the starting goalkeeper for Chelsea. Okay, but after game week 1, definitely you will get to know. Of course, most of the reports will be showing is Sanchez, but don't forget, alright, they splashed the money to get in Johansson, or perhaps that's just Chelsea way of business doing. They just like to splash clash. And they also have Petrovic, they actually play most of the last season. Okay, in game week 3, alright, I might just throw the transfer, but also based on the transfer. If let's say I were to take a punt on Muniz versus Ishbis at home, alright, then yes, alright, I'll just show you the FDR again. Right, look, again is switch again. Alright, so I might just roll the transfer to be up onto the game week 6 onwards. So there's a reason why I actually selected for game week 6. Alright, let's look back at the slides again. Alright, so game week 6, obviously Liverpool have a nice fixtures, Man City has a tough fixtures. I can actually skip on this. I can still continue with Fulham or maybe a United player, but of course against Spurs. Or by the time I might bring in Aston Villa, alright, against Ipswich, which most probably will be Watkins or perhaps an Arsenal player. Alright, so my draft is basically pretty built up, alright, but it's going to take against a toll, alright, on Ipswich. I'm so sorry for this if it offended anybody, especially Ipswich diehard fan, but I just felt that your team is not strong enough. Now that's my opinion, alright. You might not need to follow my opinion because there are a lot of players out there, alright, that actually play based on the template plan and basically just take 1 or 2 changes. Alright, for me, it's totally different. Alright, let's just show you how it lines up for my team. Okay, it's totally different from whatever the template, right? Because I do believe most of them actually go with Trent Alexander-Arnold, but because I do not have the funds, so I prefer to go with someone that actually have the most near down minutes, which is Van Dijk. Alright. Gordon also most people skipping and going Eze, but as I mentioned earlier, the fixtures aren't nice for Crystal Palace at the moment, despite he's the main star player. But who knows? Perhaps he might not even be the main star players, especially for the penalties, because don't forget they brought in Kamada and Mateta is back for Olympics. If he's fit, he will start, he will take the penalty. See, there's a lot of uncertainty. Yes, of course, there's a lot of websites that will help you, like Fantasy Football Scout. All right, they will show you who's the penalty taker. All right, see, Eze Mateta, but we might not know basically. All right, and of course, there's also a lot of read up at the Fantasy Football Scouts, like how you mentioned here. Of course, there's always a predicted lineup to help us to make our choice. Feel free to go and check them out. The news, and of course, as the deadline is going to be close, which is tomorrow, we might have more news because of the press conference. All right. So yeah, these are the few things that you need to know. Of course, we will get to know early news about Manchester United due to the kick-off time. All right. So if let's say you're hoping for news on Chelsea and Man City or Leicester and Spurs, I'm so sorry that you might not even get it because due to the late kick-off. Okay. So nevertheless, it depends on who you choose to have in your draft. Okay. Because now most of people actually is going either Haaland without Salah or Salah without Haaland, and there's also some that actually prefer no Haaland and no Salah. So when they do not have Haaland or Salah, they are basically stacked up with Arsenal players. There's also another option, as you can see, right in the template, is favoring Raya and also have Saka in it. All right, so basically how you look at it. All right, for me, I'm so sorry to say this. All right, I cannot imagine a draft without either one of them. And of course, I'd like to start off with Haaland and Salah. So I hope that this differential will pay off, that I have a good start. Okay, now looking on the most selected XI, right, definitely you can see there's always Haaland and Salah and Palmer. All right, just to make things clear, this is way over budget. All right, but this to show you position wise which are the most selected players. So as you can see, Guardiola, Poro is still there, which I have in my team. Okay, and of course Mohamed Salah and Gordon I also have. Isaac not to mention. All right, he's definitely in everybody draft unless I'm not sure what you plan to do. And Haaland I do have. All right, so of course there's a goal scorer odds that you can see. All right, Haaland is tipped to score the most. Isaac followed by Salah. So I'm pretty happy with my draft basically, because obviously I have the three top predicted goal scorer, and also they are also appear the most selected XI. Okay, but there's no harm, because there's also draft that they don't pick Salah, but they pick Jota. All right, Diogo Jota actually scored in their previous preseason game quite well. So just to let you know, all right, do not forget the kickoff should be less than 48 hours now. But of course, I'm in the Malaysia time zone, whereby it's GMT 8. So the game week 1 deadline will be starting in 1:30 a.m. because the match actually will start at 3 a.m. for Manchester United. Okay, so basically I'm actually 7 hours ahead of the kickoff of UK time. All right, so this is how my team looks at. And if you have no link to join, you would like to join, all right, feel free to join. All right, the code is there as you can see in the screen, or you can check in the description. I have actually linked up my code. All right, feel free to feel free to join my link. All right, so and yes, of course, all right, if you are watching the game, you like to have a drink to enjoy, yeah, because I will be doing that. Okay, so I'm pretty certain that this is my team at the moment is 99%. All right, the only changes that I might make, okay, is basically on the bench. That's all, or any last minute injury. All right, so that's it for today. Okay, I hope everyone has a great week ahead of game week 1. Wish you all the best. If there's anything, all right, always feel free to check out my channel. And yeah, that's it. Thank you very much for the video.